Still Spinning podcast number 50, and it's officially been a full year since I've done it. I think the very first one was a day after my last podcast. It doesn't really matter, but this has officially been over a year since I started it, and it's been really great. I really feel like I found exactly how I like to do these, and I just can definitely see it growing, and it's been a lot of fun. And I just look forward to keep doing a lot more. This is the first time you're listening, I talk about everything throughout the universe, anything I want to talk about, anything that kind of helps you live life to the fullest, which is what I'm trying to do, and anything I find interesting and fascinating and inspirational. And just as I keep learning and growing as a human on the planet, I like to share that, and that's what my podcast is about. And as most of you know, it's a lot about dunking, and that's what the last few have been about. I have a whole YouTube channel, which you might be watching this on, but if you're just listening, this is on YouTube as well if you want to see the video podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can listen to audio if you didn't know that. So yeah, it's on all platforms everywhere. So thank you for everybody listening and watching. Today I had my boy Mikey Kaufman on. I actually met him back in Boca, where we both kind of grew up. He's from New York originally, but moved to Boca when he was 8. We're at the same age. I met him a little later when we were about late teens, I think. I don't remember, but we just met at the gym. We saw each other play. We played basketball. We both played basketball. He actually played pro for 2 years overseas in Israel, so he could really hoop. It was really awesome playing with him. I used to just play with him at LA Fitness, and then he used to be dunking. He's about 6'1", 6'2", but he would be dunking, and back then it wasn't that many people dunking at just a regular gym playing pickup, so it was just cool to know somebody dunking. And I remember looking at him thinking, I want to dunk one day, or I was trying to dunk. I could probably maybe get one down. If I remember correctly, but he was doing a backboard dunk and a few dunks like that. I'm I'm going to be able to do that. And I was it was just cool to kind of see him. And then I didn't really know who he was. I just knew him as the guy who dunked at the gym. And then we became friends, had a few dunk sessions together, and just continue to stay in contact. And he's doing kind of big things now. It's pretty cool. He has his own jump program called BetterBounce. He moved to New York. He always wanted to move to New York, as you'll see in the podcast, and he just wanted to do something with sports. And he's now digital content creator for Overtime, the sports media company. I don't know what to call them, but they're doing really great, and that's kind of why I wanted to have him on. I wanted to kind of catch up because he's my friend, and also just see how he's doing in that company. And it's a pretty cool company. They have really big ambitions, and it was just super cool to see that and learn more about it, because it's just a competitive market with just people posting video clips and things like that, and they're doing really well, and he seems to be in the forefront of it. And it was just really interesting to catch up with him and learn more about it. So I hope you guys like it. If you guys have any interest in helping me out, chase my dreams, follow my dreams, help me live out my passion, subscribe, like it, share it, do all that great stuff. And if you want to help even further, those are all the free ways. But I have Twitch you can subscribe to, which is also free. If you have Amazon Prime, you can do Twitch Prime. I don't know how that works exactly, but helps me out. I game and do things like that. And the Twitch is actually really fun because I interact the mostly. I get live questions all day long, so it's really cool. So, and I might do other things too, like Twitch in real life. That's another topic, but I'm looking forward to Twitch more than just gaming. 2K19 coming out though. And then also Patreon, you can subscribe to that. And yeah, my website, buy some shirts. I got a new one I just created myself last night. 2 nights ago? Last night, called, it's a Keep It Up t-shirt. It looks really cool. It says Keep It Up, and it's a pun, keep it up, meaning stay up, jump high. You get it? Anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get it. Still Spinning podcast. Let's go. I just gotta work, and I'm doing that. Never stop, always on attack. Locked in the path, never getting off track. Whatever I lack, add it to my bag. And I got plenty more where that came from. And my price is right, I never change, bro. I don't get it done right. And that's every day, that's real life. All right, we're live, just like that. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, bro? Good to see you.
You too, man. It's been a while. I thank you for making some time, man.
Of course.
So I basically just wanted to ask all about your programs and everything you're involved with now. I see you're with Overtime and BetterBounce and all that stuff, and we haven't talked in a long time, so I just wanted to kind of see what's up.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate it.
So what exactly do you do? Tell me how you're involved with Overtime.
Yeah, so my full-time job is at Overtime. My job title is a Digital Content Manager. I do a lot of different things, but basically I'm on the social media team, and a lot of the work we're doing is short-form video content that goes out on all the social platforms. So a lot of people probably know overtime just from like highlights. Like we get a lot of
Right.
highlights of like the best high school players in the country, and we're like everywhere. But with that, we also put together like we do longer form stuff as well, like off the court stuff, all access stuff, like exclusive things with athletes, like that on our YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
that are like 6-7 minutes, and basically like whenever we need like a social cut for that, like a shorter version that can live on this on like Instagram, like I'll cut that up and edit that, and
It's
a lot of my work is doing that kind of stuff.
That's pretty cool, man. It seems like you're really involved. Were you like with them when they kind of first started? Because I didn't know anything about them. I knew you before them, obviously, and then I kind
Yeah.
of saw you like grow when they grew. So it seemed like you had your hand in it like early on.
Yeah, for sure. So I moved to New York just a little over 2 years ago, and I came across overtime pretty much right away. And at the time, overtime was totally different. Basically, it was like a full-on tech startup working on this app where like athletes like you and me can upload our highlights or our dunks to the app, and they wanted to create like some sort of app around that, and like I won't go into details because it ended up really not working out. So they kind of pivoted. So during this whole time trying to make this app, they started Instagram account and like social media and tried to
Yeah.
really push the app through that. And they grew a pretty good following. And they decided to really instead of trying to make an app to become a digital sports network. So like I said, a lot of you guys think overtime is really just highlights or even just highlights of high school players or covering high school players, but really we're not. Like we're really expanding. Right now we cover football, soccer, esports, and basketball, and we're looking like we want to just keep expanding and our audience and expanding our content. But I actually started part time because it was a very small team. At first, there was like 6 people, and I was part time, and I also worked another full time
Wait, so
job
six
here in
people
New
were
York.
the total company when you started?
Yeah, so when it
Dude.
first started, it was like 6 or 7 people. I started part time. There was a couple other part time people, and for about it was like 13 or 14 months, or I think it was like it was just over a year. I was working part time at overtime, and I had a full time job at another tech startup. That was a really cool experience as well. And then back in November, overtime raised money. David Stern was an investor. Kevin Durant is an investor. Um, and they raised a good amount of money.
So were you
And
guys
then
like pumped when you got those investors? Like, how did that happen? Were you just like freaking out?
yeah, so I mean, I didn't really have anything to do with it, to be honest. The co-founders, Dan Porter, who's the CEO,
Mm-hmm.
and Zach Wiener, who is the other co-founder. They, Dan has a lot of experience. Dan's older and has a lot of experience. Like he sold his last company for like $280 million. You know that game Draw Something?
Is that the old one? Like a long
Uh,
time ago, where you
Yeah,
draw and someone has to guess what
yeah,
you're drawing?
yeah. So he
Yeah, yeah,
made
yeah.
that. The
Really?
CEO of Overtime made that game and sold it to Zynga.
Zynga.
So he has like a crazy resume, and basically Overtime was funded by WME which is like one of the biggest talent agencies in the world. And then, so yeah,
That's super cool,
long
man.
story short, like they just were pushing along, and they ended up raising money, and then I came on board in November full time. I think I was like the 16th full time employee.
Wow.
And ever since then, we're really taken off, and we now are around like 40. I can't even count, but like
Dude,
there's new people like every few weeks.
that's super cool, man. I mean, that's like kind of like the dream. Like you kind of want to start something small, like get in when it's early. But the thing that's crazy, what I wanted to ask you is kind of what was your purpose of moving to New York? Because are you from New York originally? And
Yeah, so
then,
I was born in Westchester, but I moved to Boca Raton, Florida
mhm.
when I was 8. So I really grew up in Florida. I love Florida, just like you. I'm sure you
Yeah.
love it. But I always knew that I wanted to move to New York, and I knew my sister lives in New York too, and I just knew I wanted to have like a unique job. And I know you have to sometimes it can be tough in South Florida to find a lot of opportunities,
Right.
but I knew in New York there's endless opportunities, and I just like I don't know. I guess I had a little confidence in myself that like if
Yeah.
I went there, I'd be able to figure it out.
So by opportunities, did you want to do something basketball related, or did you want to do some like content? You wanted to do kind of like a mix of those two things?
No, so to be honest, I didn't think I'd be doing basketball
Mm.
or I don't know. I wasn't like fully confident in like my video editing skills,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't. I didn't think I would. I mean, I was trying to be in sports,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, people know this. Like being in sports is so competitive,
Yeah.
and cold applying to jobs at like ESPN or like CBS Sports is like nearly impossible. Like you need to know people and to get your foot in the door. And even when you do like an entry level job at like ESPN, like you get paid shit, and it's
Yeah.
probably not that fun. But I mean, it's still a great opportunity. But
So you just moved there
um,
trying to just try to find a new path, like kind of something with sports, but something that like you enjoyed working for.
yeah, so I when I moved to New York, I knew what kind of environment I wanted to work in. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I knew like tech startups and companies that were kind of small like that really fascinated me. And I wanted to like be put in a situation where I was expected a lot and was around people with experience that were
Right.
smarter than me, so I could like learn a lot. Um, you know, work really like just bust my ass because I feel
Yeah.
like this is like the age
For
where you
sure.
need to just like go all out. I'm 25. This is like the age where you need to just go all out and get as much as you can. So my first full time job was at this other tech startup, which is really really cool. And actually, we started. This is another cool experience. We started in like a little apartment on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Not a little apartment, like a big apartment for New
Uh-huh.
York, but it was literally an apartment. We
Apartment.
worked out
Yeah.
of an apartment, and then we raised $10 million and we
Wow.
moved into a huge office.
Wait, so that was your
So
company you started, or like you jumped
no,
into?
no, no. This was another company that I was working at full time before I started working here full time for overtime.
And the company was in an
I've had
apartment.
like I've had two amazing startup experiences
Yeah.
when people are like most startups fail.
Yeah.
But I guess I just got lucky.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you have a good like knack of which ones are going to be successful. You know?
Hey, maybe I should be an investor
Yeah. Exactly.
so I can invest in these companies.
That's kind of the dream too. Is like I love hearing about that. That's kind of what I wanted to ask because it's like, what about overtime? What was really interesting to me is that like I see all the people reposting things. I even had like my own little dunk life one. I just can't keep up with it, but I love the idea like in the dunk community, which I want to get back to, is that you see all these dunks and you like I know what are good dunks, you know, and some people you see reposting just the same old things or something, but overtime is like it was always like it kind of stood out to me a little bit because there was some things I didn't see and it seemed like they had a good team of like eyes like you said from different sports and just like maybe even different angles, but just like it was the only one that kind of was not only posting like different things that were like not from the same mainstream things that I see on my feed 100 times, but also things I haven't seen at all. So I was like, that's hard to do because in the world where everybody's reposting everybody, it's hard to kind of stand out. So that, and they were growing so quick too. It was wild.
Yeah, so I mean, we're really strategic with like getting our own original content. So well, yeah, like our a lot of our strategy is like, well, one, like we were one of the few people to like go out, like figure out a way to cover Lamelo Ball and Leangelo Ball
Mm-hmm.
in Lithuania, and that was a big time. House of Highlights was reposting all our stuff,
Yeah.
and then we covered all Zion's game and Mac McClung's, and like we made sure that we had several camera angles, and the thing with us is that we're fast, so
Yes, for sure.
we have technology and like strategy inside to like when Zion does that 360 windmill, like we're posting it like literally, I'm not even exaggerating, like within 2 minutes of it actually
That's
happening live in the
crazy.
game.
See that's another thing is that you guys had always had access. I'm like, how the fuck you seeing these people with like celebrities? Like I know people that go to those games and like you can get footage, but like you guys seem like you always have the first access to them.
Yeah, so it's like you'll see companies with like for example, like when you see like a great like Zion Williamson dunk, like you might see a company post a better quality clip like with a better camera, but it's much later in the
Yeah.
game, and we get it up way before everyone. So if anyone's going to repost it, they're going to repost ours because
It's
and that's a big
first.
part of our strategy. Like we want to, this is a really competitive market. There's a lot of sports media networks and companies that are doing a good job and trying to do what we're doing. So you got to figure out any
Yeah,
way to beat them in
for
different
sure.
situations.
So one more question about overtime. The hell was I gonna say? Um, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so I don't know if you can give this away or anything like that, but what's like your guys' goal? Because obviously you want to build a platform, be like the first there. What's your guys'
Yeah.
goal as a company?
Yeah. So our goal is to just be like um, the new age ESPN for like the new generation. Like the new generation, I think it's like Generation Z. People call it is like people that are consuming lots of content on their mobile devices. Like how can we like ESPN just really isn't getting the job done for like 13 to 14, 15, 16-year old today, right?
Right.
Or they're watching overtime. They're watching like I couldn't believe it. My cousin who is like 17, like he watches all of our shows on YouTube, and like knows every single episode who was on, and it's crazy. And that's what we want to do. Like we want to create shows, and we want to eventually be like everything that the kids would want. And this goes as far as like having live shows, having maybe selling documentaries to like bigger platforms like Facebook or Netflix, and like really being a powerhouse. Yeah, like our long term goal is just being like the newer, better ESPN, and that's a
That's really
huge
cool, man.
that's like a huge dream, and it like seems impossible, but we've made like a lot of progress. And for people who know overtime but don't really know that we make like longer form stuff, check out our YouTube and like watch. Like we made some really cool stuff, like documentaries following around high school players through like the Under Armour circuit, and we did a piece on Trey Young during his Oklahoma season, and we're starting to work with more NBA players. We actually just came out with this new show with this sneaker artist called Serato, and basically he customizes
I
sneakers. Like you
think
see,
I've
like
seen
the
him.
cool,
Do they call him? They have a nickname for him?
I think his like name is Serato, like his
Okay.
sneaker alias. But we just put out our first episode, and he had Filet on there, Jesse, aka Filet, and he had him on there. And basically, it's like the guy gives Serato the shoe, he customizes, gives it back. And I can't really say who, but we just got an NBA player on the second episode,
That's super
and
cool, man.
I can see us really getting a lot of cool like music artists and people through this to that realm. So
That's
it's exciting.
Dude, that is exciting. Is that part of like your personal dream as well to kind of be in that space where you kind of like have access to those people and just kind of do you have any interest in like the film or you just like the sports side of it? Like what's your personal take?
Yeah. So my experience with overtime has been really cool because I've gotten to do a lot of different stuff. I get to shoot, I get to edit, I've gotten to produce things too. And yeah, it is really cool to get the access and be able to go places. Like, for example, I went to the NBA Combine back in, it was a couple months ago in Chicago. And it was really cool. I got to interview guys like Trey Young, Lonnie Walker, Michael Porter Jr., Grayson Allen, basically
Sick.
most of the top, or Mo Bamba, most of the top players that were in the draft. And it was kind of like I was just like a journalist or something, but I was just recording everything with video. Um, and then I got to go to like San Antonio and go to a celebrity game and film like Rachel Demita, who if you know basketball, you know her,
Hmm.
and I met Magic Johnson and Shaq and all these cool people. So it's definitely cool to get out on the field and do things like that. But in the office, like we have such an awesome team, and it's just as fun being in the office with everyone.
That's really cool, man. So are you guys like are you kind of would you call yourself like the kind of person that brought the dunk community to overtime or did they have any like aspect of that? Because I know you were kind of like in that and you're still in it with your own program and things like that.
Yeah. I think I definitely bring like my dunk knowledge to the
Uh-huh.
game, and I'm definitely like one of the people who's like looking for the best stuff on the internet and curating it for us to post it, and us to
Hmm.
post it before maybe one of the bigger or one of the other competitors post it. So I definitely use my dunk knowledge, and have an
Hmm.
eye for like what content will do well for us. But also my guy, the head of social media, Tom, he knows his dunking,
Yeah.
so people know it. But I definitely bring dunking to the company. We talk about it a lot.
That's awesome, dude. Do you have any
Yeah.
aspirations for yourself in dunking, or are you still just working on it gradually?
Yeah. So I mean, uh, my girlfriend just got
Hey,
home.
what's up?
So yeah. So I mean, for dunking for me is interesting. Um, so I mean, Better Bounce is like my side hustle,
Hmm.
and really has no affiliation with overtime. But basically, I just want to grow my account.
Yeah.
And my goal with Better Bounce I'm not really focused on dunking, like landing new dunks. Like I'm obsessed with like training and trying to jump higher, and then I feel like those dunks will come.
For
But
sure.
really, just finding the best ways to jump higher and different methods, and sharing that with my audience. And I want to grow. I want to have a big enough audience where I can continue to work with brands, but work with brands like get paid to work with brands to create content around products that I'm passionate about. So the goal is to get to like whatever 50K or 100K, to where right now I'm at the point where I am working with brands. Like I recently done a few things with Nike, like testing out shoes for them and making some videos around that, and that's really I really enjoy that.
Yeah, that looked awesome, dude. I saw like pictures in those videos. They look super nice, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's another benefit of being in New York is you're kind of around things that are happening all the time. So it's a great opportunity. But I mean, I'd say that's my goal with dunking. Like for me, it's really building a brand. It's like I know I'm somewhat of an expert with dunking, so figuring out a way to build a brand around it. Try to make some money, but really also try to help people, achieve their dreams, because everybody wants to dunk.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
You know that.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's kind of like in line with what I want to do. I mean, I just want to build my passion into something that's like sustainable as well. But that's so cool that you're working with Overtime. I like that. That's like a group of guys that kind of have like the same mindset. I feel like that's so beneficial. I know you got to run soon, so I don't want to keep you too long. But is there anything else you wanted to lay out there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely follow Overtime if you don't. There's also another Overtime account people don't know about that I manage myself. It's called Overtime FOH, and it's a smaller account. I think we're at 75K right now, but it's basically all NBA and college.
Oh, cool.
As opposed to Overtime, which has more high school stuff. So definitely follow Overtime FOH. Definitely follow BetterBounce.
What's FOH stand for?
You really want to know?
I guess.
It stands for fuck out of here.
Perfect, dude.
We're savage at Overtime. We're savages. So
I mean, dude, I'm loving what you're doing because, like I said, like that they definitely stand out compared. Like I'm on Twitter now. I kind of got back on it a few months ago. I haven't been on it for a while, but they're like everywhere I go, I see Overtime bigger and bigger, and it seems like in a place where it was so saturated, they still were able to like rise to the top, and it's really cool to see, and it's cool to know you, like, to get some insight.
Facts, and I feel like the reason why we were able to disrupt that market a little bit is because it's not like we're not like traditional reporters. Like we're not like, oh, Zion Williamson, 5-star recruit, ranked number 2 overall. Like we don't care about that. We're not putting numbers on these kids. We want to, one, tell their stories, and then 2,
fuck out of here with that, you know?
Exactly. And we want to like we're doing it for like the culture. Like
exactly.
I think people like Overtime because they like our voice. Like,
right.
Our captions aren't we're part of the culture. We really engage with our audience. Like if you look at our comments, like it's like if you compare us to like other like ESPN or other big like Instagram accounts, it's like they have more followers because they've been around way longer. But our interaction rate, like our comments, is like popping more than anyone else, and that's because our community is so strong.
Yeah. That's what people want, like, especially from my own experiences. Like, that's what I figured you guys were pretty much, like, geared towards. It's almost like Barstool type things, but, like, mainly high-quality sports clips. Because instead of just, like, you have the culture, but you also, like, have to have that niche of, like, what you produce, and you have, like, the highest quality, like, or, like, high athletic performance clips. I don't know. It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, Barstool does a great job. Like, I don't think the thing with the difference between us and Barstool is that I think they do a great job of, having a community, and they've done a great job building these. So they have so many Instagram accounts. They have like 500 Instagram accounts with like a lot of followers.
Yeah,
and they've done a great job growing on social. But I don't think they'll ever be mainstream because their content is pretty out there. And at the end of the day, it's somewhat of a niche audience of white males in a way. You know what I mean?
Like kind of like fratty a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like. It'll never like they can never be the next ESPN. They're always there, but they're Barstool. They're in a league of their own. Where I think we take a page out of their book of the community and trying to grow and being as big on the presence on social media as them, but really having the diversity. And like I said, like we're already thinking ahead with different things and covering different types of sports. So definitely be on the lookout for us doing other sports stuff. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, man. I won't keep you any longer. I really appreciate it, man. And if there's any updates in the future, I'll definitely have you back on the podcast, man.
Appreciate it, man.
And if I come
Um,
to, Nico's in New York, I might have to come visit now.
yo, and Peter's in New York too.
Yeah,
Yo, and Peter's working at overtime
that's what
now.
I heard today.
Yeah.
I
Yo,
talked to Nico today.
today was his first day on the job.
That's so
literally
cool,
just got
dude.
back. So crazy.
It's so weird how like everybody's like from Florida now. People are in New York. It's crazy.
Yo, you got to move out here, bro.
I mean, I would love to like spend some time there because, like you said, the opportunities. It's like I'm doing this whole one man show right now, but it'd be so cool to be like around all the guys.
Come through. We'll get a dunk session in. My girlfriend's wondering where your dog is.
Yeah, he's over here. I'm like trapped in my little corner over here, but he's walking around doing things.
Yeah, we want to see more dog content.
Young G, all right. You need some more Young G in the footage. I got it. All
All
right,
right,
man.
bro.
Well, we'll talk
Take it
soon,
easy.
and yeah, we'll dunk it with eventually. I'll see you on overtime, bro. Oh yeah,
Appreciate
wait.
it.
Last thing, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
ever do the docu-series, yo, Dunk Life, I got you. I'll be in this whole series about me anytime you want, dude. I'll fly to New York.
Got you.
All right.
Sounds good, bro.
See ya, bro. Thanks.
All right, bro.
Oh, that's the anthem right there. Tried to make an intro, ended up making an anthem.